2025, are you ready to rock? Dave's Killer Bread is ready to rock 2025 and your reset this January with killer taste, killer nutrition, and a killer sweepstakes to win a VIP concert prize pack with round-trip airfare, luxury hotel stay, and much more. Text RESET to 73876 and enter for a chance to win. Dave's Killer Bread. Bread amplified. No purchase necessary. Visit daveskillerbread.com/reset for details.
The best late-night conservative talk show in America, Sackheads Radio. And listen, there are no people better on the air to give you the best in conservative talk than Sackhead Sean and Sackhead Clint. And we're working on immigration papers for a certain other guy who happens to work here too. For those who are tuning in around the world to the best late-night conservative talk, Sackheads Radio.
Sack you. Sack you.
Radio.
Sack you. Sack you.
Radio. The best late-night conservative talk show in America. In America.
In America.
And in this web was a large, I'm pretty sure it was the biggest spider I've ever seen.
I always say that in the opening. That thing was, it tried to jump on my face, Sean. And notice how I put your name when you walk away from the microphone? And he's nodding his head, yes. Hey, welcome to another edition of the Sackheads Radio Show. I am Sackhead Clint, your host, seated to my left now as he plops into the chair and
Plops.
kind of. Did you not plop?
Plop you.
Did you plop?
I did. I plopped.
Well, thank you. Then don't call me out on it on the air in
You
front
know
of all
I'm
of our
really
listeners.
sensitive about that.
You're sensitive, period. Hey, it's Wednesday, December 10th, 2014. There is absolutely nothing to talk about tonight. There is
What a
nothing,
slow news week.
Very slow news week. There's not a lot going on, which is going to be good. So let's talk baseball.
Lester signed with the Cubs. I'm done for the season. Next.
Perfect. Oakland traded Moss, Samardzija, and
Wasn't a good trade.
and Donaldson.
That was not a good trade.
So
That was not a good trade on their behalf.
you know what? Here's the thing, though. Billy Beane is not trying to lose.
I know, but
Billy Beane does. He is trying to build for the future, and he understands that. I think and there's a lot of people. If you're an Oakland Athletics fan, the one person who's listening because the rest of you are out rioting. What? Am I lying?
No, you are not lying.
Okay. Billy
Have
Beane
fun
is,
in Berkeley.
Billy Beane is not trying to lose. He is trying. He understands that if he waits another year, he loses time for the season. Where's your bourbon?
Gone. When was the last time you saw alcohol last any more than 10 seconds in my hand? Dude, I told you I'm a highly
You know what? It
functioning
was.
alcoholic.
It was. I remember when. Do you remember?
No.
It was the Great Trip of 2008.
Oh, that's right.
But that's because you were so overloaded with everything else that you could not take anymore.
You're old. Anyhow, that was the funniest comment of the entire weekend. You want to talk about 2 words destroying a weekend for one person?
For one person, not for
One
either one
person.
of us.
No.
For the record.
Yes, it was,
Not
it was our good friend Pollywog.
who spiraled.
You want to see somebody
I think
who was
he
already
literally
fighting middle age.
Right, he literally died twice during the trip.
Yes.
And his body completely reboot, I think, at one point. Once it was next to me, and I kind of freaked out a little bit.
And the best part is it's not an exaggeration. We were literally
not.
driving back, and we were pulling the car over, getting ready to do CPR, and he shuddered and started breathing
Well,
again.
hang on. His statement was, we're like, dude, you just died.
He's
and his
like, "Oh, I
statement
do
was,
that
I do that sometimes. And he goes on this story about this one time I was on a plane and I was hammered and I died and the people next to me were freaking out. We have a very interesting group.
We do keep an interesting set of friends.
How you doing, sir?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing very well. I'm doing very, very well.
I know. I can tell you just have that look in your face.
My
Your
eyes.
smile is
Lighting the room.
lighting the room around
Right.
your
My
nose.
eyes are
The shadow of your nose is in the room, but
right.
it's lighting around it. Like
It's
Groucho Marx
yeah.
in front of a spotlight.
It's weird. I have to maneuver the microphone around my nose, and you have to maneuver your stomach around the table.
I have to move
So it's
myself
kinda
around the table.
right. So we make kind of an odd pairing.
It's like trying to land a drunken hovercraft in the seat every single week, but we somehow get
Hence
it done.
the term plop.
Hence the term plop.
Thank you.
Hey, did you batten down all your hatches? we're about to get hit apparently
with another tax.
Well, not yet.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought that's where you're going with this.
I've heard it referred to as a weather bomb. Where I come from, we call it rain.
Okay. Well, we're in a drought.
Right.
So the fact that there's moisture in the air with the fog, it's a
Weather
weather
bomb.
bomb. Right. Listen, it's climate change. Right now it's not raining, and by tomorrow it's going
will
to be
be raining.
raining. So
2
obviously,
days after that, not raining.
not raining.
Climate
So,
change.
so obviously climate change is at work, and something needs to be done about this. I think we need to put some time and energy and resources and tax dollars into figuring out what is causing these drastic shifts in weather. I remember just 4 months ago how warm it was.
Right. And
Right? And now it's cold.
And it seems like we go through these cycles every year. And
Right.
I think the government should spend billions into it. Billions.
And
Finding out what
obviously
the hell's
it's
going
because
on.
there's a hole in the ozone layer, and we need to shut down the coal industry. So, remember Aquanet?
I do.
You remember when
Remember
that
when you
was
first found out that it, quote unquote, destroyed the ozone layer, and you went into the store and bought 4 cans and started spraying it into the sky?
Yes.
Okay, good.
I do. I also remember when I remember where I was when I found out that it was flammable.
Probably about 13.
If you're listening to the show, don't recommend it. Don't try it
Nope.
at home. Do not spray Aquanet into a lighter while it's lit.
But I'll tell
and kill spiders.
But
Do
I'll tell
not
you
do
what,
that.
if you need to start a bonfire somewhere,
Yes.
that's a great approach.
Do not have our listen. The Sackheads Radio Show does not endorse the use of Aquanet or any other aerosol products for the use of a flamethrower type device to start fires or burn bugs.
As a show, no.
Right.
As an individual,
You can't do. Don't do it. Our attorneys already. You know what we pay a month. You know what we pay a month in attorneys' fees just because we're a conservative show.
$9.50.
So don't start with that.
$9.50. And
Right.
I'm pretty sure that guy can't be a proctologist and an attorney out of a van.
Yes, he can.
All right. Well,
Yes, he can. He's my brother.
You know him. He said he was your doctor.
He's,
so
no, he's my brother.
better call Saul.
Where's Sacco tonight?
He overslept.
I'm calling him out.
Dude, he overslept. And you know,
How do you oversleep? It's 8:00 at night on
I
the West Coast. How do you
don't know
oversleep?
what
Like maybe
he's
you
done.
fall asleep, but how do you oversleep?
well,
Is Sacco listening right now?
probably. And you know he's probably cursing at us under his breath in his sweet little innocent
Which
way
makes
all
it
the way
even
here.
better. Which makes it even better.
It
For those
does.
of you listening, we did let Sacco out of the cage this week.
And this is what happens. He's
right.
late.
And this is why he's going to go back in the cage next week.
Yeah, he's not getting out anymore.
So I don't know if Ken's going to start another free Sacco movement. It kind of died down. I think people realized that
What a
Sacco
jerk
is
he
better
is.
off in the cage. Right. Because he performs better when we put the
He
soundboard
absolutely
in
does.
front of the cage.
He
And when we
absolutely
don't
does.
feed him. Look, the CIA could have had their way with him. Wait, what?
What was that guy's name?
CIA. I think
Is he like
was,
a rapper?
No, but I think
Oh.
he was. I think Sacco was specific.
Now Taxes is 100% free when you file in the TurboTax app if you didn't file with us last year.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, just do your own taxes in the app by 2/18.
What if I have lots of forms?
All good, all 100% free.
What if I had 3 jobs?
Still 100% free.
What if I once saw Bigfoot?
That has nothing to do with taxes, so still 100% free.
Now that's what I'm talking about.
Now this is Taxes. See if you qualify in the TurboTax app. Excludes TurboTax Live, must start and file in app by 2/18.
Zaxby's Sensation Salad is so much more than a plain old salad. It's a salad, which begs the question, at what point does a salad stop being a salad and become a salad? Is it when you add Zaxby's fried chicken to it? Crunchy wontons? Asian slaw? Citrus vinaigrette? Teriyaki glaze? Sweet and spicy sauce? Or is it when you top it all with a handmade perfectly fried egg roll? Without a doubt, the egg roll. The Sensation Salad, only at Zaxby's.
Mentioned in that report, even though he was a non-terror suspect. I think we were actually
That
put in
poor
there
kid.
as some kind of operative.
I was thinking about last week's show. The worst thing we ever did for that poor kid's life is have him on a show as our producer, because that immediately gets him NSA attention and it gets him flagged.
Right.
And then to say that he is of Middle Eastern descent.
Right. You did that because you're a racist.
We might as
You
well
outed him.
have brought him to Gitmo ourselves. He is so hosed at some point.
And he works all of these electronic devices, and he's really great at building like circuit boards
And
for
he
our
loves
show.
to carry around packs of flares, which is
Right.
black
It's just
electrical
it's
tape,
kind of
which I think is
weird. Yeah, but
yeah.
Sacco's fine. He's a good conservative.
I I just picture a couple weeks from now, he's sleeping in bed at night, 2 a.m, everything, and just FBI like crazy, just booting in the door, just dragging him onto the ground.
Did Sacco just send you a text?
No.
Because I saw your phone light up, and that would have been hilarious.
Yeah, it doesn't do that. It actually doesn't do that when Sacco calls.
What's it do?
It whimpers a little bit. It's weird. I don't know how you program that, but it just happens.
It just happened. Well, Sacco's kind of a genius. Look, the guy makes our opening music.
Yes.
He
makes all of our music.
Yeah.
He's rather incredible.
He
I don't know
actually
what
is.
he's doing here. He actually has talent.
Well, but he's lazy. So, which is he just doesn't want to
He
go look
can't
for
stay
another
awake
job.
past 7 o'clock at night, apparently.
Right. Either that or he hasn't woken up yet.
Oh, what's on the big board of events for the evening?
Well, we'll take a look and read it. What are you asking me? You got eyes? You got your glass? Okay. In Beloit, Wisconsin, we're not talk about that yet. We're going to talk about the douchebag of the week. It's a new segment.
Oh, D-Bag of the Week. I'm
D-Bag of the
psyched.
Week. We're starting it. And we actually have somebody nominated and confirmed here in the Sackhead studio during pre-show production. He was nominated by me. It was voted on by the 2/3 of the SHR Media Sackheads radio show that are here.
It passed?
It
with a
passed
majority?
unanimously. Sacco wasn't even an abstention. He was just a oversleeper. I have to log that.
I think
in
it's in our
minutes.
bylaws.
Something like that. And this guy was, in fact, voted D, which is hard to do because we had a few of them we could have chosen from, right? We could have chosen
I almost did
Boner,
like the lottery system
Boehner,
for this week.
Hans Gruber. But this guy won.
Ken
And
wants us to get music for the D-Bag segment, so I got to have Sacco work on
have
that.
Sacco work on that.
All
But
right.
we're going to have to put him in the cage to do that.
That's fine.
But we
He's
need a
gonna be there
D-bag. We need
anyhow.
a D-bag of the week segment.
Okay.
We're going to talk about the Senate Intelligence Committee's release, Dianne Feinstein. I love her so much. She is so sexy. We're going to talk about her.
Why do you talk about Frankenstein like that?
I don't know. She's do you know why I like when I refer to her and Pelosi, I like saying that broad because it just drives them nuts, and the hate mail we get is so awesome. So we're going to talk about the Senate Intel Committee and what that broad Feinstein did, releasing a CIA report.
I had a conversation with my mother about that word. And let me tell you.
Because she listens to our show.
She does. My mother uses that word more than we possibly ever could. And when we first started
love
talking
your mom.
about it.
Can I just tell you? I
She
love
is
your
pretty
mom. She is
awesome.
awesome.
My mother, with her thick Boston accent, said, Broad, what's wrong with that word? I've been using that for 50 years.
Oh, I love your mom. She's so great. Did you say, Mom, we get hate mail every time we use that word?
No, because
I'm pretty sure it's all from the left.
As soon as I mention email, her computer just blows up.
That's like me.
She's not technological. No, you guys would actually. I'm going to get two of you, just the computers with
Hang
the
on
one
a
big
second.
button in the middle.
First of all, I have not hit that button yet. Number two.
It's a little early in the night to brag about this.
Number two.
It's a little early to brag.
I'm bragging about it right
Oh,
now
8-11.
because once Sacco gets
You
here,
suck.
the blame is no longer on me.
No, it is
I
because
actually
you're the setup.
No, but he's here to confirm.
All right.
I
You do the
actually-
walk around of the plane and it crashes. Let's not blame the stewardess working in the back.
Hey, as long
I'm
as
just
it
saying.
took off and it was flying, obviously I did something right.
All
That's
right.
all I'm saying. I actually did the technological setup.
You did.
I got here, the studio was set up.
Yep.
Research was done. The board was done. Blog Talk might drop us at some point.
We don't use them
Live
anymore.
3 se-
We
We'll
haven't
see.
used them in a year.
See? Oh, wait. So maybe this is a problem.
Yeah,
I'm
this
pretty
could
sure
be
I
a-
clicked that.
Hey, Ken has a good idea. We should get the Broads over at the View to sponsor a segment. That way we could say this portion of the Sack Kids radio show is brought to you by the Broads over at the View.
And we could say it's a broad view.
It's a broad view. Boom.
We could call it the broad view segment.
Look at us closing gaps.
You like that?
Yes. You turned a negative into a positive.
We had a great idea, by the way, pre-show, but we're not going to tease that yet because we don't know if it's going to happen.
Right.
But it was a brilliant idea.
It's a brilliant. We do that all the time.
Should we just tease it with the name?
Fine, go.
It's the Little Sacks.
The Little Sacks. I think it's a great.
And that's all we're going to say. Now people with their dirty minds, like Ken, people with their dirty minds are going to take it one direction, and it's not meant to go that direction. I'm just going to tease it. I want to know what our listeners in the chat room think.
No, you don't. I can't say that. I can't say that. I can't say that.
You can't say that. You can say that, though.
Egg says oi. Let's just leave it at that. Everything else
Let's
is
just
pretty
leave-
good.
Everything else is good? We want to do a 15-minute show because that's all we can keep the attention span on with 5 and 6-year-olds
Yeah.
that we know in our family, so nothing weird, and just ask them about different,
Everything.
Yeah, just different things.
I just think it'd be a riot.
And just,
actually.
they're the little sacks.
Yeah, I think that would be a blast. The best
I
part.
think it would be hilarious, especially if we talk about Spider-Man.
Well, but who's gonna MC it? Who's gonna anchor that show?
We need somebody with a very low maturity level. Somebody with the intelligence at about that level.
Right. Somebody who's
somebody who
hairy,
can
say, like a
identify
teddy
with them.
bear.
Right, or Chewbacca.
Yeah.
Somebody who speaks their language, who can color within the lines to kind of teach them something.
I've seen his writing.
Yeah. I'm thinking Sacco.
I think we nominated Sacco.
Yeah, I think Sacco should.
Again, we took
should
that vote earlier before
host
the show.
that show.
2/3 it passed. So
Because he would argue with them.
he would argue with them. That
Right?
would actually be funny.
There's no way Spider-Man could swing from that light pole. Because if you look at the angle, and he would do the math.
And he would actually have it figured out.
Right, and the kids would look at him like it's Spider-Man.
I'd be outmatched, so I would just give up at the very beginning.
Well, that's because you're confined.
I'm mentally confined.
You're mentally something.
Thanks.
But I love you for it.
Oh, man. Egg wants to know if the sacks are smaller in the winter. No,
because they're constantly growing.
Right.
Yeah, they're constantly growing. You got to keep them warm.
All right, this is going to get bad, and you know it's going to get bad. Let's go on to the first
I don't even know
segment.
what you're talking about. Are we there yet?
Yeah, we're there.
We're right on time. How
I
do you
know.
do that? Without Sacco here. He didn't even close the door on us.
I know. We'll get to it, though. We will screw this up eventually, I promise you.
So in our D-Bag of the Week, nominee and voted on by the Sackheads Radio Show, is Norm Jacobs. Everybody knows Norm, right? And not from Cheers.
No. Oh.
No, not that was Sandy.
Hey there, Ryan Reynolds here. It's a new year, and you know what that means. No, not the diet. Resolutions. A way for us all to try and do a little bit better than we did last year. And my resolution, unlike Big Wireless, is to not be a raging and raise the price of wireless on you every chance I get. Give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
$45 upfront payment required, equivalent to $15 per month. New customers on first 3-month plan only. Taxes and fees extra. Speed slower above 40 gigabytes on unlimited. See mintmobile.com for details.
What makes a great pair of glasses? At Warby Parker, it's all the invisible extras without the extra cost. Their designer quality frames start at $95, including prescription lenses, plus scratch-resistant, smudge-resistant, and anti-reflective coatings, and UV protection, and free adjustments for life. To find your next pair of glasses, sunglasses, or contact lenses, or to find the Warby Parker store nearest you, head over to warbyparker.com. That's warbyparker.com.
You're going to go there because you're drunk.
No,
As
explain.
I take a drink.
Explain. I'm not drunk yet.
So, Norm Jacobs is the chief of police in Benoit, Wisconsin.
Everybody knows Norm.
Everybody knows
I love
Norm.
how you make that assumption. Half the people here have never heard of him. Most people have no idea where...
Norm Jacobs?
Yeah.
Because as soon as I said that name, everybody jumped on Google. Or Bing. If you're a listener of this show, it's Bing or Yahoo because we don't use Google because they're so anti-gun. Come on, Sean. He asked the citizens of his town for consent to search their homes for guns.
Really?
Yeah, not criminals.
Was his first name Adolf? What was it again?
Nope. No, Norm.
Norm. Gotcha.
Yeah, Norm Adolf Jacobs. It may be. That's an unconfirmed report. I cannot confirm that is, in fact, his middle name. We're looking into that.
It could be Herman.
It could be Herman.
Right.
Or
let me ask you this question.
Yes.
He didn't phrase this as some sort of like public safety thing, did he?
Well, he did.
Because that would be insane.
And here's the thing. So he likens gun violence to the Ebola outbreak. And with consent searches of residents for guns...
How do you make that leap?
As a vaccine. How do you not make that leap, Sean? Come on. Let's think. Hang on. Let's think this through logically. Obviously, you're emotional right now.
I'm very emotional.
Gun violence kills people, right? It's violent. It's bad, right? Ebola.
No.
It kills people.
That it does.
It's bad, right? Do vaccines help cure Ebola? Therefore, consent searches would help cure gun violence.
But
what part of this do you not see?
But what if it's wrong? What if the gun is the vaccine, as Ag points out in the chat room? I'm sorry, as Ken points out in the chat room. What if the guns are actually the vaccine against the poison or the disease that is the criminal element?
Stop using logic
Okay, fine,
to try
I'm
and turn these arguments. This is my segment. It's in blue on the board.
Sorry.
If you look at that. Well, he likens it to, the Ebola outbreak and the vaccine. So I didn't know he was a doctor, first of all. Second of all, would any non-law-abiding citizen grant consent?
Nope.
Would anybody grant consent?
Probably not.
Right?
I think when I read on this, one person had called.
And said you're out of your
No. They
stinking
got
mind.
millions of, or I don't know how many people live in
40,000.
the metropolis of Beloit, Wisconsin.
40,000. They've had a whopping 7 gun-involved homicides. So here's my point, and we've made it on this show before. Why are these jackasses worried about only gun violence? Do we not want to address the problem of violence as a whole? Why just gun violence? Why is it when they're talking about statistics, and I know the answer to this because I'm not non-intelligent. I was going to say another term. Why are we worried about just gun violence? And it's because it fits their narrative, right? We want to reduce we reduced gun violence by whatever. Okay, what's the rest of your violent crime rate? Like, what's that? Because if somebody wants to commit a homicide, is there no other means to commit a homicide?
Well, let's look in recent history. I'm going to go with the Boston Marathon bombings.
Okay, listen, that's just a way out there example. That doesn't always happen.
Oklahoma City.
Yeah, that doesn't happen. Okay, think smaller scale.
World Trade Center.
Can you use any other means to commit a homicide? Because now
No.
you're talking airplanes and cars, like knives. People don't use...
Okay,
they do.
hammer.
Hatchets.
Hammer.
Hatchets.
Hammer's been used numerous times to kill
Vehicle.
people. Hammer's actually the choice.
Garth Brooks wrote a song about Papa Loves Mama driving a truck and killing somebody.
Mm-hmm. Well, there's been plenty of songs written about people getting killed. Throw Mama from the Train. They made a whole movie about it.
A whole movie. So my point is this, and I know our listeners agree, and I know we've talked about this before. I want to know why nobody, and I've searched this story, and I tried contacting the police department.
No, they didn't respond.
Weird, right?
They must have lost their email the same place Boehner lost his last week.
I love how he never got back to us. I was not able to get a hold of their association because I really want to know what the Police Officers Association stance is on this.
Probably
because
not good.
Officers, look, we take an oath, right? They take an oath to uphold the Constitution, to uphold the Constitution of the states as well as the United States. And do they take that seriously? Are they not worried about other violent crimes? What do they do if they find a gun? Are they going to document that they found a gun there?
Well,
do they make up a call for service? And then they go there, and then do they document what they find?
I don't understand why this small police chief in the small town feels that he has to step in with a state he believes is failing, because you don't have to register your weapons in Wisconsin. It's not a requirement.
Right.
And if it's a state law, why does he? If he doesn't like the law, he should lobby to appeal the state law and have it changed, versus start enacting a way to sidestep the state constitution. Never mind the federal with the Second Amendment. He might as well just start getting to the point where we're saying, oh, you know what? While they're in there, the officer's going to stay for as long as they need to because, until they get their next call at least. And if that means it's overnight and you have to board them and take care of them against your will, then you might as well do that too.
I want to read a statement he said. We're not interested in taking lawfully owned guns, but
there's always a but.
Safety starts at the home. So I went on their website, and did you know on the Benoit, Wisconsin Police Department website there are gun safety tips?
Oh, very nice. Let's hear them.
Some of them are pretty good. Right? Always treat a gun as if it is loaded.
Don't
Think
lick-
safety first.
Don't lick the barrel.
Nope, that one's not on there.
Could
but
add that.
That's a good one.
I'm just saying.
Always make sure a gun is pointed in a safe direction.
That's a good response. That's good.
That's a good one. Never allow your children to play with guns. But here's one that I thought was interesting.
And the word play is optional in that.
Right. Always store all guns in a locked container, separate from ammunition, and keep the key out of the reach of children.
So now you have 3 steps to have to protect your home and your family should somebody come in that doesn't belong. At least 3 steps.
The Supreme Court has ruled
You don't have to do
on
that.
something like this,
Yeah.
right? Because if a gun is locked and stored unloaded, and particularly if it's locked and stored separately from the ammunition, that gun is not readily available.
So therefore,
for
it's not effective
self-defense.
for self-defense.
And if you're requiring this, it is an infringement, because there were some cities that tried that.
Yeah.
And they got slapped for it.
Massachusetts still has it on the books, and they haven't pulled it yet, that you have to maintain all firearms, loaded or otherwise, inside a secured safe.
So this was kind of the telling safety tip for me. because I've looked at other sites on other safety tips, and that one's not in there, storing it. Now, I have seen sites that have said, hey, if your gun is loaded, store it in a locked container. They sell, gun vaults and various gun devices.
Quick vaults and all that stuff.
Right,
Yeah.
where you can readily access it, but it's still key locked or code locked so that children can't get in there. But I haven't. So I thought, and this is why I wanted to go through these gun safety tips, just to kind of see where this guy is at. And have you seen a picture of him?
I have not.
He looks like a 30-year-old Lurch to me.
Let me pull up Bing.
Pull. Here, I'll just turn it for you. Actually, you know what? I'll go to their website and pull up. Everybody, just Google image this guy and
Chief
take a
Norm
look.
Jacobs.
Yeah.
That's all you need to do.
And just take a look.
Oh, wow.
Am I right?
Wow. I don't know if I want this guy telling me anything. First of all, it looks like somebody photoshopped a baby's head on.
Is that his dad's uniform he's wearing?
Well, I don't
look at the size of that jacket.
Well, they don't make them that small. That's the problem.
What is that guy? 102 pounds of
man.
fury.
You know what's going to be the worst?
Of Chief of Police fury.
When somebody emails us and be like, "You jerks, he just got over X, Y, and Z."
then don't make jackass decisions or requests. Why are you going to request your residents give up their Fourth Amendment rights?
Second.
Fourth Amendment rights against search and seizure, entry into a home without a warrant.
Yeah, sorry.
Here's a copy of the Constitution. Review it.
No. Did you just throw the good book at me?
I did throw the good book at you. Good book number 2.
Well, and I understand. Did we just go near London Bridge or something? What the hell was that?
Was that a foghorn? What was that? Was that a ship's bell?
Is the storm coming in that bad? The ship's rolling down
do
the
we
middle
have
of
the
street
emergency
right now?
alert network
What
on?
What is going on here?
Did Ken hack into our show?
No, because that definitely would have been more bassy.
Oh, why? Because he's black?
Yeah.
You always throw the race card out there, Sean.
Yeah, that's exactly.
And I don't appreciate that. Oh, you said Bell and Ken because he's like a bell boy?
Really? Really?
Why do you do this? And yet he said hi to you in the chat room and not me.
I know. You know why? Because I'm the only one that actually talks to him. You talk at him. I talk to him.
No. I respect him.
Well,
you try and manipulate him.
To talk a little bit more about this ridiculous thing. Listen.
I want this picture of him.
All over the place?
All over the place.
I know you do. We'll put it up on the website maybe.
Okay.
If he came out and said, hey, if you have any weapons in your house that you don't want or anything, unsafe, if there's something unsafe, you find something that maybe Granddad brought back from World War II or something like that.
Give it to me.
Exactly. But seriously, call the police, et cetera, et cetera.
We'll come render it safe.
Right. And then deal with it however we have to afterwards.
Right.
But to equate firearms with Ebola and to say that the vaccination is essentially the government coming in and saving you from yourselves with these dangerous weapons that you are obviously too immature and unintelligent to be able to maintain and handle them yourself.
See, I don't think it's that. I think it's you are unable to control yourself and your emotions in times of stress. Mm-hmm. So we're going to protect you from yourself or protect other people from you for when you get upset. I'd have respect for if he was like, hey, if you have any cool old guns, call me and I'll come buy them from you. Versus right. Or hey, we're going to have a violence education course about why violence happens, the causes of violence, the cause of adolescence violence. We're going to read On Killing. We're going to read Stop Teaching.
We're going to have gun safety courses at the police station. If you want to come down and learn how to be safe with the weapons in your home, we'll be glad to teach it to you. We're going to have a firearm safety in children course. We'll have an advanced course, et cetera, et cetera. Mm-hmm. I would be all for that. Listen, we talked about the towns that try to pass mandatory firearm
like our town would be if we
actually had the way to do it.
Right. I don't know if our listeners were around for that. That was a long time ago.
Yeah.
But we actually talked about, because there were some towns that tried to ban them, right?
Right.
What if we said, hey, you know what? Our town, Sackhead Town, views it as a public safety.
I believe it's called the Sack Village.
Sack Village.
Yes,
it's a public safety issue. We require all of our residents to maintain a firearm in good working order in their home in order to protect the town, their families, and our community from unlawful attacks. It's also a homeland security issue.
Absolutely.
Because we know there are terrorist threats here at home and so forth, domestic and international terrorists. So you shall maintain a firearm for the public good to defend not only our community but our nation.
Mm-hmm.
And we're requiring it. Mm-hmm. People would lose their minds.
Absolutely. And there was a town in Massachusetts, it's out Route 2, I can't remember if it was Leicester or one of the other small towns out there, that tried to pass that. They tried to get it put on the ballot, and it didn't pass in the sense that they didn't get enough signatures to get it on. But, it definitely, we've talked about before, the root cause of the accidents involving firearms, not gun violence itself, but a lot of times when you see statistics out there get thrown around that have to do with gun deaths and gun injuries, a lot of those statistics do include accidental discharge of firearms and injuries with firearms. If you want to eliminate a large portion of those, then I believe firearm education would be an outstanding way to lower that, and then you can focus on the true problems, which is the criminality and the mental illness that does get involved with crimes and guns. But to sit here and say that every person has a gun in their home, or even allude to the fact that that gun is somehow a poison or a disease, is you're taking the inanimate object.
No. The gun violence is the disease.
Right.
The search is.
But the key word in that's gun. We all know that's how they kind of weasel it in to make it sound like it's the
They
gun.
don't care about the violence. It's the gun violence they care about.
And I say it all the time. I must have the laziest gun on the face of the planet. Because every time
I would return it.
It hasn't shot anyone yet.
I would return that. It's
hasn't
obviously
gone off
broken.
accidentally. Hasn't shot anyone. Hasn't pointed at anyone. It's never robbed a liquor store.
Well, here's the problem. You don't put it. I actually put mine in a wheelchair because you have to give it a way to get around to do all these crimes, right? I put mine on a wheelchair, and I ended up having to return mine because it also did not go anywhere and do anything.
And it's the weirdest thing.
I took to driving it around in a car.
Really?
Really? You walk in the door, and the first thing you do is
in.
Close the door because you see it's 8:30.
Oh, man.
Good morning, sleepyhead.
Wow. Hey, Sako.
How are you, sweetness?
Hi, buddy.
You're going to be hosting a new show.
Yeah, if you were here earlier, you would have had a say in the matter. But,
Hey, he closed the door. He's the producer. He closed the door. Whether he walks in with 10 seconds left and closes it or not, he closes the door. When we come back...
I hate you.
When we come back, we're going to talk about the Senate Intel Committee's report on the CIA conduct. Back in 3.
Hair thinning can happen for so many reasons. Whether it's stress or hormones or anything, at Nutrafol we've learned that real change starts below the surface. Our hair growth supplements take a whole body approach and target the key root causes of hair thinning, so you can see visibly thicker, stronger hair in 3 to 6 months.
Hair growth starts from the inside at Nutrafol.com. That's Nutrafol.com.
Zaxby's Sensation Salad is so much more than a plain old salad. It's a salad, which begs the question, at what point does a salad stop being a salad and become a salad? Is it when you add Zaxby's fried chicken to it? Crunchy wontons? Asian slaw? Citrus vinaigrette? Teriyaki glaze? Sweet and spicy sauce? Or is it when you top it all with a handmade perfectly fried egg roll? Without a doubt, the egg roll. The Sensation Salad, only at Zaxby's.
Radio.
Hack news. Hack news.
Radio.
Hack news. Hack news.
Radio.
In a world controlled by corrupt politicians,
You got a business. That you didn't build that.
a team of ordinary men emerge from the ashes to give voice to the voiceless and hope to the hopeless. Sackhead Sean.
Dude, I'm not saying calf for the stupid promo.
Sackhead Clint.
All good friends of ours usually show up drunk.
Also starring Sako as the producer.
I'm a little bit drunk, I'm a little bit drunk, 'cause I'm drinking, drinking, drinking.
They are the Sackheads Radio Show. Every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Pacific on shrmedia.com.
This is Tammy Jackson, inviting you to join me on The Tammy Jackson Show every Tuesday night at 7 p.m. Pacific on the 405radio.com. Put down that remote and tune into the show that covers politics, guns and the Second Amendment, religious liberties, sanctity of life, the military, and more. I host newsworthy guests and work hard to be a conservative radio show that's not like all the others. So save Tuesday nights at 7 p.m. Pacific for me, Tammy Jackson, on the 405media.com.
Who listens to the Andrea Kaye Show? Let's find out as we eavesdrop on listener Roger Johnson in Encinitas.
You know, if our policy is going to be bring any child who comes across the border,
Okay, so apparently Roger fell asleep in the middle of my brilliant political tirade, and now he plans to sue me because I put him on the air, sleeping. Obviously, he's a liberal.
Snoring, not an option while listening to The Andrea Kaye Show, Tuesday mornings at 11 on Financial News and Talk.
You know I'm right. Y'all know I'm right.
Hello, I'm Matt, a student at Hillsdale College. Here's Hillsdale President Larry Arnn on the continuing relevance of the Constitution.
Many argue today that the Constitution is outdated because it addresses problems peculiar to the 18th century. Some parts of the Constitution do read rather quaintly. Consider the injunction against titles of nobility in Article 1, Section 9 of the Constitution. But is that so outdated? The purpose of the injunction is to prevent the government granting special privileges to some for partisan reasons. This strikes at the heart of the rule of law. The crony capitalism so common today is a place where the government bestows favors and tax dollars on some businesses to give them a leg up over others. This is exactly the kind of thing the Constitution was meant to prohibit. The Constitution is not so outdated after all.
This Constitution Minute was brought to you by Hillsdale College. To join the national conversation on the Constitution, go to constitutionminute.com.
Hey, we're back here on the Sackheads Radio Show. Thank you so much for joining us this evening, the 10th of December, 2014. Wow. I get to cover this? You didn't prep me on that. You didn't tell me I was leading on this
Are
story.
you kidding me?
I thought I was the color guy on this.
You're the what? Why do you do that every week? Ken, I'm going to apologize for my partner. You know as well as I do that he is not the colored guy on this show, and nor do I appreciate your remarks.
So the Senate...
You know it's in green, which is your segment. It's been on the board for 2 hours.
I know. I've only looked at it 5 minutes ago. You were ranting about something. I glanced up and I was like, I should probably have an idea what we're talking about.
You need to have a drink.
So the beautiful friends at the Senate, before they leave in, before they're losing the majority here in January, have decided that they wanted to just scar the Republicans a little bit more. And it really is the conservatives, because I know some of this went back to the Bush era and the CIA, and they're going to try to coerce this into being the old CIA mentality. But they released the CIA report about the torture and
alleged,
and some of
so I didn't realize that the CIA was pulling people's fingernails out. I didn't realize that they were sticking bamboo shoots.
Still not us.
Oh, that wasn't.
Still not us.
I thought. Well, they said torture, right?
Well,
I didn't realize they were sticking glass rods.
What they view as torture. And first of all, you know, I've had to listen to Dianne Feinstein talk. I deem that torture.
That broad cannot.
Cruel and unusual punishment right there.
Right, and this is why we had sound clips teed up, but we're not going to play them.
We're not going to play
them. Literally, it's like fingers on a chalk. Like, Sean just gets this look on his face, and his eyes kind of glaze over. Then we'll have to patch a wall.
Every time I read her name, all I can think about is Frankenstein. Fire bad. And I don't know why. But first and foremost, the damage that this does to our intelligence community, and you know, we already have a bad enough image in the world, and not that I necessarily care about our image in the world.
Well, yeah, why would you?
But there are people that are I really
apologize.
don't. But there are people that are going to use this. It's going to incite certain groups of people that already dislike us and already try to create attacks on us and undermine us however we can. So
the Obama administration?
outside the country I'm talking about.
Oh, I'm sorry.
This time. So this is going to further perpetuate that. This was a political FU, the big finger to the face, done by the Democrats in the Senate on their way out the door.
This isn't just a finger. This is like they held the finger up, they stuck it literally in the face, up against their nose, and then wiped it around slowly.
But the whole time,
and then down the lips, like shh.
But the whole time it was like a bionic finger, like
Right.
an ET finger that just kept growing,
right?
With other little middle fingers coming off of it. And it makes us look horrible. But furthermore,
I like how you said furthermore.
Almost everything that they talked about isn't torture.
Okay, sleep deprivation.
Not torture.
Has anybody crammed for finals?
Yeah. So
Did you sleep that
our
week?
colleges using torture repeatedly. This is the finals time of year.
Has anybody been awake in class all day and then had to go drink all night?
And then go back to class?
And then go back to class?
Yeah.
And then go... Yeah.
Poor Sacco is a victim of torture right now.
What about... Did
I was hurt.
You have a microphone plugged in?
I do.
I thought we unplugged that.
I got to hide it again next time.
Jesus. So, okay, what about our Special Forces folks?
Mm-hmm.
Hell Week.
Oh, yeah. No, buds.
Yeah.
And people are going to say, well, that's voluntary. Yeah, but...
They
but
voluntarily joined a terror group and tried to kill us.
Right. Voluntarily took the act. So ridiculous. We say it all the time. There are people in really bad parts of this world who work for us that have to do things at 2 o'clock in the morning so we can sleep safely here. And I know people don't like that answer, and I know that people think that that's horrible, we shouldn't do that. But you have to understand, the people that we're playing with, quote unquote, do not care about the rule of law.
See, look, I disagree with you on one point. I don't think we should be a nation that tortures. I don't think we should be sticking bamboo shoots up people's fingernails or things. I don't think we should behead people slowly, right? Or those
Quickly?
things. Well, guillotine, right? But the things described in this report
the French flag
are
had
things.
red and blue in it.
No, it's all white.
They just add those?
I think that the things that these prisoners were subjected to are things that are very similar to our own military personnel get sent, particularly
it's all done
like SEER school, right? Search, evade, and resist
and it's
school.
all done
where
in a
you're
controlled
in confined
environment.
spaces. Yes,
they have medical staff on standby, ready to go. They have all that contingency plans put out.
So I disagree with this definition of torture.
Absolutely,
some people would disagree with me.
Absolutely,
they're wrong.
But they would.
And they would be wrong.
Well, there's a great quote out there right now, and it's contributed to Don Cherry, the hockey coach, but it's not him. Where there was a city councilman at one point who said, if hooking up an Iraqi prisoner's scrotum to a car battery cable will save one American GI's life, then I have two things to say. Red is positive, black is negative, and make sure they're wet. Now, I don't necessarily disagree with that comment.
But it is hilarious.
It is absolutely hilarious. But you have to understand, these are people who literally are dying for an ideology. They will put on a vest and they will walk into a school full of children, press a button, and blow up everybody.
This button?
No, don't touch that button, dude. We keep telling you about that. These are not people you're going to be able to reason with. These are not people. It's not like the mob where you might be able to get that one rat that you can buy off. It's not like that. It's an ideology. It's a mindset. It's their way of life. You have to.
It's not like it's been around for thousands of years.
It's not like
it's not like we've been fighting them since the inception of our country.
And it's not like we're the only country that does this.
Right. It's not like we've been fighting them since the inception of our country.
You go to Mexico right now. We seem to love Mexico. We love the country. This country loves.
You love Mexico.
I don't love.
You love their tequila.
I do love their tequila.
You love their tequila
and Cabo San Lucas
and their beaches.
Yes, because I'm such a beach-going individual. I keep having problems with Greenpeace. I tell you that. They keep trying to throw me back in the water. But it's one of those things that we are not the only. We are actually probably one of the more tame countries.
We are.
When it comes to interrogations.
We are, and that's why this Senate report is complete crap. The other garbage part of the report. Yeah, I don't sugarcoat things a whole lot. I'm not very eloquent.
No, you are not.
Nor am I
friend.
very intelligent.
Subtle as a sledgehammer.
So I just have an opinion about things I don't know much about. There was the other point in the report was we didn't really get actionable intelligence, and that has been disputed up and down, not only on the right, but former CIA Director Michael Hayden was on Fox News, and he absolutely dispelled that. He said we were able to stop or there was information that stopped another potential
terrorist threat,
9/11 style attack. Other terrorist attacks were stopped as a result of this. He said we've been given a kind of quote Home Depot like treasure trove of information. Basically, like 8,000 pages of intel came out of these enhanced interrogations. So this guy knows a thing or two about actionable intelligence and what type of information we got. So I disagree that it was garbage and we really didn't get anything.
I disagree with that too. And even,
we got Osama bin Laden as a result following the chain from information that came as a direct result of these enhanced interrogations.
It starts. But again,
not torture.
This is part of the problem too, is when you use cute words like that, I think it automatically, just interrogation. Hostile interrogation. You're dealing with a hostile individual and you're interrogating them. You're trying to get the information. And like you said, it led to bin Laden. It led to stopping other terrorist attacks. And these are not Granny at the bingo hall that they're dragging into a room somewhere, putting a phone book next to her head and punching the phone book so they don't leave marks. These are, once again, evil human beings who want us dead.
Well, they do, but I want to be clear. I don't condone certain acts that I would consider torture.
No, but I'm talking
I don't,
about
right? But putting them in uncomfortable positions,
I don't have any
making them
problem
wear a
with that.
diaper, playing loud music, keeping them in the dark, not letting them sleep, and simulating drowning. Again, things we do to our own troops for training purposes to be able to resist. I don't have an issue.
No,
I don't have an issue with anything that I saw in the report.
No, and that's the problem.
I wouldn't want to be in that position, fully clothed.
I wouldn't put
but
myself
I
in that
wouldn't
position.
Fully clothed.
Right, fully clothed.
Right, or with a diaper.
Sacco's probably going to be in that position in a few weeks, so we can ask him after how it went.
I think he was just in that position, which is why he was late.
Sacco's already working for the man.
Sacco, unzip the mouth portion of your mask and answer this question.
All right. You've summoned me.
You need to say that whenever you talk on the microphone now. You summoned me.
Hang on, Sackhead Law. I vote.
I vote. 2 out of 3. We'll take it.
What's up?
Is it really torture when your arms are chained to the ceiling and you're wearing a diaper and a gag ball?
I'm going to go with yes.
Wait, you've changed something.
What did I change?
Where did the gag ball
What did I
come out
change?
of?
Where did the gag ball come from?
I'm sorry, it's Sacco. Take a look at Sacco.
You know, it
Is
adds-
that
it's like the
outside of
cherry
the
on
realm
cake.
of possibilities?
No, but
Thank
still,
you.
we didn't have to go there. Are you
No.
chewing gum?
Yeah. Yes.
Turn your microphone off. Just turn it off.
Hold on.
Go back to
Hold
sleep,
on.
Sacco. What?
Why do we care if we torture terrorists?
Because I believe we're a nation better than torture in that regard. Like if we're doing,
Do you think
but
we're-
I'm not a problem with enhanced interrogation.
What's wrong with torturing terrorists to get information
No,
to save lives?
I agree.
Because we're a moral nation.
And do you think it's unmoral to torture?
I think it's unmoral to torture, yes.
To viciously
torture,
torture, yeah.
Permanently maiming or scarring, yes. Psychological injury, no.
No. Because I don't buy that at all.
I don't buy that, no. Being uncomfortable, no. Temporarily injuring, okay, I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
But permanently maiming, disfiguring,
Sure.
torturing with the intent to ultimately kill, yeah, no, I'm against all of that.
There's a line.
There is a line.
There's definitely a line. Like, I definitely understand, like you said, the faux drowning and stuff like that.
It's like that Supreme Court just says, I don't know what pornography is, but I know it when I see it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, it's very true. I don't know torture per se,
But I know it when I saw it.
Yeah. You know, if you want to make if you're going to make these guys sit through all the seasons of Sex and the City and something like that, I think that's a little cruel and unusual.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
But you have to draw the line somewhere. But they should not be treated.
I mean, you look in the report; it said they made them watch The View over and over again. I mean, that maybe would be considered. Was that in that report?
I would if that.
Well, I don't think
if
that
that's
was.
the case,
I may be
will
reading
represent them
something
in
else.
court.
Yeah,
I
may be
will
reading
willingly
something
represent
else.
them.
Forget I
because
said anything. I
Everybody
apologize.
has a line.
Yeah, I was unconfirmed. Maybe got some TMZ photos of Rosie O'Donnell or something. I don't know. That's unconfirmed. We're working on
They
it.
just made her listen to Nancy Pelosi on loop for hours,
And they were cheering,
hours.
which was weird. They were cheering, remember? When they
Oh,
were
yeah, I
listening?
know. They would- they
and then
couldn't-
they had to switch it to Republican that they hated.
Right. Nancy.
That's where that may be where her nickname Pistol Grip got started.
Yeah, I think that could be a very.
The Republicans released a report that said, you know what, this saved lives and played a vital role in weakening Al Qaeda.
Yeah.
So they issued a report from the minority group to directly rebut the Democrats' report, which is what this was. Look, so here's a question: are the Democrats doing everything they can right now to discredit, throw mud, fog up the water because they're losing power in 2 months or in a month?
I absolutely agree. They can do everything they can to undermine.
So why put American lives at risk? They were warned. This could potentially endanger American lives. It could potentially identify assets. It could potentially identify our operatives who are working on our behalf. You also have to look at the context of when this was done. Right after 9/11, thousands of American lives were lost. So, again, you can't look things through the microscope now, right? That's like looking at certain things that were done in, the time of the American Revolution through a microscope. And now I know it's a stretch. There's not as much time has gone by, but you really do have to take a look at the mindset of the nation at that time that this program started.
Well, half these people.
So it's kind of a two-part question, right? Are the Democrats doing everything they can just to kind of muddy up the waters?
Yes.
And if something bad happens, they can point, see, this is why the
Yes.
Republicans are evil, because they do things that cause this.
Right.
And two, do you think that most people are looking at this through the eyes of the time?
No. And we lose the eyes of the time. Listen, you look at how many people were for the Iraq War.
Mm-hmm. Before they were against it?
Right, before they were against it. I was before it, before I was against it. And it's about politics, and that's the problem here. And we talk about this. We talked about this before the show, and we talked about people having principles and people doing it for the right reason. This is strictly for political gain. This is strictly to sway votes and opinions. You think any of those idiots have any concern about A, these terrorists, B, our tactics, C, our active operatives that are out and now potentially endangered? Do you really think they give one iota of a damn?
Is this a trick question?
No.
Or is this multiple choice?
This is multiple choice.
Okay, what are my choices?
Yes or no?
That's not multiple choice.
No,
it's
it is.
A or
It's
B.
more than one.
Which one is A?
Oh, A is yes.
I want A.
Okay.
Because I can't read far enough down to go to B.
But none of these people give a damn. This has to do strictly with votes and trying to rally their base and their little hippie groups that are marching in Berkeley right now, and peace is the answer, and blah 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 that we've been listening to for years. If they truly cared, they would do. There's a couple different things they could do, but they would try to change this behind the scenes. Or instead of citing specific things, they would work with the CIA or Congress to pass new rules about interrogation and not even bring up the past interrogation. Just move on if it's really that big of an issue. But they're not doing any of that. They're highlighting this. They're making the conservatives look like the big bullies going in. 2016 is right around the corner. Now this is part of the congressional documents forever. This is something that they can cite going into the 2016 elections. This we brought up time and again. Oh, because the Republicans did this. If you put another Republican in the White House, now they have the House, the Senate, and the executive branch. And look at what they do when they're in total power.
I want to know what the far worse is. Because in the report they said that the techniques were brutal and far worse. That's a direct quote. Brutal and far worse.
I love how technical they get.
Right.
And that's how you know it's BS, too.
Yeah, like far worse than what? Or like far worse than smelling a rose? Far worse than sitting on a beach with a rum and Coke?
Right.
I mean, is it far worse
They're
than...
literally sitting on a beach in Guantanamo.
Right,
They have a
exactly.
better view than you and I do.
What's the
unbelievable
problem?
weather.
Far worse than listening
Really
to Pelosi
good rum
talk?
right there. Nothing. No, that could be
far
the far
worse than concentration camps?
Yeah.
In Germany?
This could be far worse.
Or Poland?
This could be far worse.
Romania?
But that's why they couldn't even... It's like he who may not be named.
It's far worse.
That's an open name, so they can throw that out. I'm sure
Because
that
it sounds bad.
MSNBC and Mother Jones and pundit, all the other ridiculously insane liberal media had that. It was torture and far worse.
And how interesting is this? She said, history will judge us by our commitment to a just society governed by law and the willingness to face an ugly truth and say never again. There may never be the right time to release this report, but this report is too important to shelve indefinitely.
Is she talking about the investigation of Darrell
she's,
Wilson?
She's talking about... No.
Oh.
No, but history would...
I thought it was how the country treated Darren Wilson.
A commitment to a just society governed by law. I'm holding in my hand the supreme law of the land.
Same people that sidestep the Constitution with regularity, really?
And that law is, you said it, the Constitution of the United States.
Mm-hmm.
And how many times has she
sidestepped
this?
As often as humanly possible.
Tried to violate it.
Right.
Tried to violate, and let's just talk about 2A issues. Tried to violate 2A issues, even after the Supreme Court rules.
And no matter what, they still try to find new and exciting ways to do it, and they go and they go and they go and they go. Look at what they've done in the last 3 years to the First Amendment with the protest with the president. You can't protest what's at 1,500 feet now near the president because
you can burn Berkeley down.
Right, you can burn Berkeley
and Ferguson.
And if you're in Massachusetts and you're a college student and you've been protesting for the last week,
right?
You may actually be able to get out of your midterm exams
because it's traumatic.
Because it's too dramatic, exactly.
Right, it's too traumatic.
These are all the things that they will do, and immediately point the finger whenever they can at other people.
I got a finger to point at them.
I do too.
I've got a couple
it's
of
the
them.
giant ET finger I was talking about.
Right.
But, this is pure politics, plain and simple. There's nothing to gain from this. There was nothing to gain as a country by publishing these papers. Yet they did it anyhow.
So is she going to be held responsible if American lives are
she'll never be
killed
held
overseas?
responsible. Never be held responsible.
Should she be?
Yes.
I think she gave aid and comfort to the enemy.
I believe she gave aid and comfort as well.
Is that treason?
I believe
Is that punishable by Umbufu?
Or snoo-snoo. I don't know which one it is.
We get those two mixed up. I'm pretty sure that's in the U.S. Code. We are working to try and find that term. We'll let you know when we find it.
Absolutely, because, hey, listen, you know what? If all of a sudden now, within the next couple of weeks, there's attacks on embassies and places we haven't had problems with before, maybe Americans start being targeted all over. I mean, we just had that one American targeted in Abu Dhabi.
In Yabba Dabba?
Yabba Dabba. Abu Dhabi Dabba. You ever watch Key and Peele with the football players?
Yes. And if you haven't checked out Key and Peele,
you got to
check out Key and Peele. East-West game.
But, if this starts to enhance and go more and more and more, I think you could make an argument that's directly related to this this release of these documents. And listen, like I said, the country as a whole had nothing to gain out of this. All it did was hurt our intelligence, hurt our intelligence operatives in the field, and make us look like buffoons.
You know what? When you just said that, we gained nothing from this today. You should have a remember Jack Nicholson from A Few Good Men?
Yes.
You need to give that look and say all you did was weaken a country today. Because that's where you started to go with this.
Yeah.
And I got to admit, I was getting a little excited. Like
you
my
want
pupils
me on that wall.
My,
you need
yeah,
me on that
yeah,
wall.
my pupils dilated a little bit. Like I felt my blood pressure starting to rise. My cheeks got a little flushed, and then you.
That's because you had a Twix bar just before we went on the air.
And a shot of bourbon. Sacco's closing the door on the segment. When we come back,
what do we have next? Oh, Boner's Boner.
Boner's Boner.
The bad budget bill. It's all about the bees, folks.
That's the actual name of the segment. Boner's Boner. I love that. We got to get that out on Twitter. Where are you going, Sean? We're going to a break. What are you doing?
Can't do it with your potty mouth.
Where are you going? That's not Boner's Boner. Put that away.
In a world controlled by corrupt politicians,
You got a business. That you didn't build that.
a team of ordinary men emerge from the ashes to give voice to the voiceless and hope to the hopeless. Sackhead Sean,
Dude, I'm not saying calf for the stupid pro.
Sackhead Clint,
All good friends of ours usually show up drunk.
also starring Sacco as the producer.
I'm a little bit drunk, I'm a little bit drunk, 'cause I'm drinking, drinking, drinking.
They are the Sackheads Radio Show. Every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Pacific on shrmedia.com.
This is Tammy Jackson, inviting you to join me on The Tammy Jackson Show every Tuesday night at 7 p.m. Pacific on the 405radio.com. Put down that remote and tune into the show that covers politics, guns and the Second Amendment, religious liberties, sanctity of life, the military, and more. I host newsworthy guests and work hard to be a conservative radio show that's not like all the others. So save Tuesday nights at 7 p.m. Pacific for me, Tammy Jackson, on the 405media.com.
Who listens to the Andrea Kaye Show? Let's find out as we eavesdrop on listener Roger Johnson in Encinitas.
If our policy is going to be bring any child who comes across the border to say
Okay, so apparently Roger fell asleep in the middle of my brilliant political tirade, and now he plans to sue me because I put him on the air, sleeping. Obviously, he's a liberal.
Snoring, not an option while listening to The Andrea Kaye Show, Tuesday mornings at 11 on Financial News and Talk.
You know I'm right. Y'all know I'm right.
Hello, I'm Matt, a student at Hillsdale College. Here's Hillsdale President Larry Arnn on the continuing relevance of the Constitution.
Many argue today that the Constitution is outdated because it addresses problems peculiar to the 18th century. Some parts of the Constitution do read rather quaintly. Consider the injunction against titles of nobility in Article 1, Section 9 of the Constitution. But is that so outdated? The purpose of the injunction is to prevent the government granting special privileges to some for partisan reasons. This strikes at the heart of the rule of law. The crony capitalism so common today is a place where the government bestows favors and tax dollars on some businesses to give them a leg up over others. This is exactly the kind of thing the Constitution was meant to prohibit. The Constitution is not so outdated after all.
This Constitution Minute was brought to you by Hillsdale College. To join the national conversation on the Constitution, go to constitutionminute.com.
And welcome back here to the Sackheads Radio Show, hour number 2 of this amazing disaster.
What amazing disaster.
Our amazing
That's my
disaster.
nickname. Did you know that?
Yeah, as a matter of fact, I did. I learned that. I didn't know it, but after I saw you in action a few times, I learned that. I'm like, what an amazing disaster he is.
Right,
you were often like, have you ever watched a slow motion train crash into a car? Where you just see it coming.
Where it's awesome and horrible all at the same time.
You're yelling move.
Right.
You're like, move, 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 move. But it still happens, and then there's the impact, and the car is spinning away.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what it was like when I first met you. You were both the train and the car, which was even more amazing.
Right.
Kind of a duality of person.
And a split personality, let's be real.
I know.
Right? Because I'm a completely different person.
Well, I'm a schizophrenic, and so am I.
Right. Like, you're the jerk.
That's the funniest part.
Everybody on the show thinks I'm the jerk. You're the jerk.
I'm really the jerk in real life. I get on air, and it's funny how we swap roles like that. That's the only reason it's my hour off of the week that I'm a nice person.
It is.
Other than that, I'd have a massive heart attack by now.
I remember that poor guy came up, and he was in his walker, and he asked you for a dime because he was 10 cents short from being able to afford his cup of coffee, and it was so cold outside. And you punched him in the face, took his tennis ball off the bottom of his walker, and threw it at his wife.
All right. Now, first of all, you got the story all wrong. All right. I slapped him plainly.
I thought it looked like a closed fist strike
and
to me.
And I didn't throw it at his wife. I just happened to hit his wife. There was a dog playing behind him that needed a ball to chase.
There was not a dog playing behind him.
There was
That
too.
was a raccoon.
Well, either way. Are the raccoons like balls?
I don't know. I'm not a raccoon. Nor have I ever had a
those
raccoon.
little hands that they can play with them and throw stuff around.
Yeah, throw stuff back
I want
at
to
you.
train a raccoon.
They eat cat food.
I just missed an opportunity. That's all. How do you know that guy wasn't a Nazi?
How do you know he was?
Just saying.
He was Asian.
Well, are you saying that Asians can't be Nazis?
I want to ask this question again. You are, in fact, Caucasian, correct?
I am.
Where is Caucasia?
The beautiful land of Caucasia is somewhere between Antarctica and South America.
Right. Antarctica and anti-Antarctica, which is the opposite of Antarctica. Have you ever been to Caucasia?
No.
Me either.
You know why?
Why?
I'll tell you later.
Okay.
You know it's bad when I won't even say it on the air, but that's fine.
But I want to hear it later.
And you will.
Is this my segment?
This is your segment.
I love the name of this segment.
Yeah.
We have some good names. But I actually like the name of this segment a lot. All of our listeners know that we refer to John Boehner as Boner.
And
because
he makes
one,
mistakes all the time.
He is one big, silly, stupid mistake.
Right.
Of
Which
the
is
Republican
exactly what a
Party,
boner is.
in my opinion, which is what a boner is. So we call this Boner's Boner. Right?
Yep.
Mistake's mistake. For those of you, Ken, get your mind out of the gutter because I know you are a pervert. And
Ken went to bed early tonight. He had a rally in the morning or something.
Oh, is he going to go protest?
I think so.
Good for him. Boner's Boner, a bad budget bill. So, look, they did it. Well, they didn't do it because now people are jumping ship.
Yeah, I was going to say.
They tried to do it.
There are
so
more
earlier
people
this
getting
week,
off that than there were on the Titanic.
Republicans just won a major midterm election victory, right? And they ran on anti-Obama agenda, smaller government, conservative principles, for the most part, right? Except because Mitch McConnell won re-election. Thanks, Mitch. So what do? Instead of standing up for their principles, fighting Obama on his illegal, on the funding over his illegal executive action, and taking the fight now to do the right thing, in my opinion, right? Stand on their principles, have principled leaders.
It's what got them elected.
Which principled leaders, which we talked about, this country is lacking. Boner proposes a $1.1 trillion spending bill that would avert a partial shutdown. It would essentially fund every department of the executive branch through September 30th, 2015, with the exception of Homeland Security, which is set to expire February 27th of 2015. So they'll still fund it.
Yes.
They still have 3 months to operate and to implement this. They went back on their word. They broke their promise. If they vote for this and it passes. Now you have conservatives that said, hell no, we're going to fight on this. And you have Democrats now trying to run away from this on another issue. But listen to what this bill spends. This bill gives $521 billion for defense and $492 billion for non-defense items, and $64 billion for overseas military operations. That's huge.
It's a ton of money. And that's
huge.
8.5 months?
Yeah, except for DHS. Or the Homeland Security side, which expires in February. And basically what they're doing is they're punting the football. They're kicking the ball down to February when they control both houses of Congress, but they're still funding it in the meantime.
Right, you're still giving in.
Right.
And you know, everyone's starting to show now that the shutdown didn't impact the country as much as they thought it would the last time we had one. You know,
there has been a shutdown for every American president with the exception of George W. Bush. And what happened to the budget under George W. Bush? Through the roof.
Yeah, it went
right.
insane.
Our debt went through
His
the
last
roof.
3 years, he was spending money like you wouldn't believe.
Not like Obama, but it still went up. There's always been. How many shutdowns were there under Reagan? Do you know
10,
exactly?
12?
Like 8,
Yeah,
9?
it was some ridiculous. It was
a
really
lot.
ridiculous.
It was.
And you always have it. And you know, time
and guess
again,
what? The U.S. is still here.
Amazingly. I wish it would shut down. And that's the thing. We talked about this before. When they talk about shutdowns, Democrats would have you believe that literally everything in government's just getting shut down, like there's for sale signs on the door.
Aircraft carriers are going to stop in the middle of the ocean.
I wish that would happen.
Jets are going to fall out of the sky.
The exception of the military and our public safety, I wish it would shut down. I really do wish it would shut down. Just to prove to people how ineffective a majority of our government is anyhow.
Right.
You could have these agencies disappear off the face of the map tomorrow.
A lot of them.
And the average person would have no freaking clue that they're gone.
Right.
You know, the Department of Gunball Machine Inspection Services or whatever the hell.
Which is probably a real.
I think
that may be
they
a
operate.
real.
Department of Treasury.
How many weeks ago was it where we talked about the different oceanic societies and agencies having jurisdiction over ocean waters?
All over COD. Right.
Yeah.
Instead of just having
ridiculous.
one agency, and whether or not I agree, I look at it like the FBI, whether or not I agree or disagree. I disagree that they should exist, but they exist, fine. But do we need the FBI and then 35,000 other law enforcement entities?
No.
You know,
why does Homeland Security have a uniform? Why does TSA have a uniform law enforcement?
There's a lot of them. Department of Energy.
The Department of the Department.
Right. That department.
That department.
That has several departments inside, which is even funnier.
Which is weird.
And then 2 apartments.
Right.
Which I don't even know why they have those 2 apartments.
And one
just
stove,
to confuse the hell out of you.
Yeah, which is odd.
And all the compartments that are in that department is even worse.
Off topic for a second, but I actually had a
no
discussion.
kidding, really? We're actually going to get off topic? That's
I know.
Weird.
Bizarre, right? Actually, this discussion was the Homeland Security and the TSA uniform Police made me think of this. They talk about, hey, our jurisdiction, we have all forms of transportation in the United States is our kind of area we deal with, right? That's in their mission statement. So all forms of transportation. Okay, so they could make federal laws regarding to, like, I don't know, Nikes
Skateboards.
and skateboards, technically. I saw a Homeland Security marked patrol vehicle on the freeway.
Yeah.
And I thought to myself, this is an interstate. This is a federally funded
interstate
highway.
Mm-hmm.
Can the federal government, I know the answer to this, would the federal government write traffic laws that they could enforce on interstates that receive federal tax dollars?
Sacco, turn up my mic. It must be broken. Yep.
Federal tax dollars, and enforce those federal violations, issue federal citations, and now take enforcement action in addition to state troopers or whatever it is. And I'm about to. Go ahead.
Take it one step further.
No, I was about to. Go ahead.
Every city, county, and state agency that gets federal money.
Light rail.
How many cities get money?
Subway.
Everybody gets money from the feds on some level or another.
Mm-hmm.
Department of Education, all of a sudden you now have federal agents for the Department of Education in every single school. Right?
You could totally go that way, but I just want to talk about TSA because this is here now.
Right.
I saw the marked unit on the freeway now. And it's
a possibility.
Scary to me, right?
No, but we've talked about this before.
And how, now I may get issued okay, you hear some people that get arrested at the state level and they get tried and convicted of a crime and they serve state, and then for the same set of facts they get tried federally, and then they serve federal time for the same set of facts, but it's not double jeopardy because it's a different section.
It's different jurisdiction.
Right, different. So
same
it's not,
crime, different jurisdiction.
Right, so it's not double jeopardy. So what happens if a state trooper and a federal TSA, if there are federal traffic codes that they end up putting in, they see the same violation.
Boom,
they
boom.
make the same traffic stop. One issues a citation for federal speeding violation. The other issues a citation for the state violation.
Mm-hmm.
What's the difference?
And then
It
a
sounds
county sheriff
absurd, but
shows up and hits you for a county code.
For a county code violation.
You know? And then the Department Environmental Protection Agency officer shows up because you didn't shut your car off while it was stopped.
No,
You polluted.
No, the battery fell out from your transistor
just
radio.
You left your car running the entire time,
So
and that was
polluted the
unnecessary
air.
pollution.
Right.
That would also be EPA. I could go on and on. No, but it is very dangerous when you expand these agencies. And we talk about it all the time. The bigger the federal government, the scarier it is.
Speaking of scary, Nancy Pelosi is talking. What? I told you, scary. She was talking about kind of pulling out of this deal now. She's pulling back on a couple things. There's
Pistol Grip is talking about pulling out. What? Isn't that our nickname on the show? Damn it!
It is.
Okay, go on.
You can't say that.
What? Why?
Because it created a visual in my mind.
Oh, so it's okay when you do it.
No, because I'm laughing.
Oh.
You actually make weird noises and shut down and curl up on the floor. That's the difference. I'm able to laugh and carry on.
I'm not. Go on.
She's saying she's not going to support it now. And so now you have these Democrats in the Democratic leadership that are pulling away from their support. You have the conservative Republicans pulling away from the support. The Republican whip says they're going to have the votes to get it, and that there could be some Republicans that don't want to vote for it, but they'll vote for it just to get it passed. So they think they're going to have the votes by tomorrow, by Thursday. But just the fact that Boner can't get it done within his own party, that the Boner has to reach out to the Pistol Grip, worries me. And I think that it's going to piss off a lot of Republicans. I really do, because the conservatives came out to vote and really turned this election around. They were able to take the Senate and gain seats in the House as a direct result of the failed Obama policies and the policies of the Democrats. So to now have Boner working deals and Mitch McConnell, we're gonna govern in a bipartisan way. That's not governing. You're going to skyrocket our debt again. Are you talking about cutting anything?
Right.
In this omnibus bill? Well, because I didn't read anything in there. Oh, granted, it's 1,600 pages.
Egg in the chat room. The last thing you want in D.C. is a frustrated Bill. Just ask Hillary.
This is a 1,600-page bill. 1,600 pages.
For 9 months.
Our entire country, I hold it up again, our entire country.
25 in a little book. 25 when it's in a little book.
Written out, it's like, what, 6?
Yeah, if that. Well, listen, there's two
Founded the greatest nation on earth. 1,600 pages.
There's
1.1
two things
trillion.
that bother me about this. One.
Just two?
Two major issues. The fact that people are actually celebrating that they might get this done. Oh, look, they're finally working together, blah, 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 blah. Why are you celebrating this? This is ridiculous. This is a tremendous waste of taxpayer
Out of ignorance.
money.
People are not informed, generally speaking.
But that tells you how bad the image of our Congress is, where there are people out there, and even informed people who are like, I don't care what they pass. At least they're actually passing something.
Right, pass something. I could pass a kidney stone. It'd be better than what they're going to pass here.
And it's sad. It's very sad that that's the state of affairs in our federal government right now, in our federal leadership, is people will celebrate this. You look at all the liberal newspapers, finally getting a deal done, and we're finally able to. They didn't even pass the budget for the year. Which is their job. They can't do that. They have to do these little scabs to try to breach it because they know. And again, political.
What are you talking about? The Democrats held the Congress. They had a supermajority, and they could have done anything they wanted. What'd they do?
Obamacare,
which was awesome, right?
Right, that's worked out miraculously. But all they do is they kick it down the road, like you said earlier, and they're kicking it down to the next Congress. The saddest part is none of them, the leaders, if you will. I'm sure there are some people on both sides out there who said, "Hey, we need to do better than this. This is ridiculous. This is an insane waste of money." And it's $1.1 trillion for 9 months. We're supposed to be lowering our debt right now.
Look, the conservatives are actually saying, in addition to the spending, the conservatives are actually talking about, hey, we are funding Homeland Security. Even if it's to February 27th, we are still funding Homeland Security, which is enabling the Obama administration to carry on their illegal executive order. We have a duty to stop this. We told the American people we would stop this.
We can stop it.
And we're breaking the promise. And that's...
And you cut the purse strings. We talked about it before.
Yes, because Congress has the power of the purse.
Right.
And that's the biggest deal for me, is that I feel that the Republican leadership, and I feel this way in California also, but we typically talk about things on a national show. They're more worried about power and image than they are about principles and respect. Yep. And if you have principles and respect and you do the right things the right way, you will gain that power because people will support you.
Well, and that's the thing is...
What's the approval rating of Congress right now?
14%, I think. Right, 14, 15%. I think Ebola actually has a higher approval rating, and I'm not even exaggerating, than Congress does. The problem is our leaders have forgotten how to lead.
They never knew how to lead.
I meant as a party, both sides.
No, I don't think they ever knew how to lead, Sean. I think they're in it for the power. I really do. Most of them.
That's what I'm talking about. The parties in general have allowed these power-hungry mongrels to get in there and not putting forward people of principle. They squash people of principle. They don't want them.
You know what would be good? What I would like to see happen, honestly? And people are going. I think some people might lose their mind over this, but I'm okay with it. You know what I'm about to say.
Yeah, go for it.
We've talked about this before. I would like to see. You can have your party affiliation, and that'd be great. But I would like to see it return to the original way we used to do things, where you just vote for whoever, and the top electoral vote getter, that's your president. Second electoral vote getter, that's your vice president. Doesn't matter if they're from two different parties.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Why do we have tickets?
Because it's convenient for one power to have a lot of power.
Right.
One party to
because
have a lot
then
of
you
power.
have the presidency and you have the potential deciding vote in the Senate. Is that not controlling the executive, potentially
but then
controlling
we go back
two branches?
to the 14th Amendment as well.
17th?
17th. Sorry.
Yeah.
17th Amendment as well, and you're swaying the vote for the Senate that should be avoided. We've done a lot of dismantling of the ways that our country was intended to be run.
We have, but I just thought that's what I would like to see.
I
would like to see it go back. I would like to see a repeal of the 17th Amendment. We've talked
yes,
about that too.
absolutely.
Get the state interests represented again at the federal level. Imagine if we had the state interests represented at the federal level right now. Do you think Boner's bill would pass?
Do you think Obamacare would have went?
No, Obamacare
Absolutely
wouldn't
not.
have gone.
Absolutely not.
But Boner's bill wouldn't go, not Bill's Boner. Boner's bill wouldn't be passing. It wouldn't pass the Senate.
You think immigration would have been taken care of already? I think so.
You think so?
I think legit immigration would have been taken care of. Yeah, because
I don't think Obama would have signed anything coming out.
Oh,
of the Senate.
no.
There's no way. Not if it was controlled by the states. Like
Well,
it should be.
you don't know. That's hard to say. He may not want to sign it, but at some point, see, because what that does is that we've reset the structure that there is actual equal power in our federal government. And that would change the thinking of our politicians because now they have to actually respect it versus try to pervert it and abuse it like they do now. So this president, as it is now, may not legislate the same way because now there's accountability and there's a little bit more pushback.
I don't think this president can. This president would write an executive order.
No, I understand
and
what
do
you're
it
saying.
anyway.
But I guess what I'm saying is this president may not have existed as a president if things were the way they should be. Because I don't think he ever would have risen to come to power.
You don't think he would have had the support?
No, I don't. I absolutely
That's
disagree.
Interesting. Okay.
So I think a lot of those changes, and we've talked about it before when we talked about the 17th, and like you said, our electoral college, the way it is now, to vote for one party is ridiculous. And I think that conservatives would do a lot better if you split, because now people would stay away from the Republican Party and, hey, you know what, Tea Partier or the independent who's a conservative independent or whatever, non-affiliated people who just happen to be good people may go to the top.
I think at first you would have a. I think if I was having this discussion with a friend earlier today. I think that if the Republicans give a Jeb Bush or a Chris Christie or a Mitt Romney again in the 2016 cycle, I think the potential for the Republican Party, the National Republican Party, to be done is high. I think the National Republican Party would go the way the California Republican Party has gone, right? And I think that you could potentially see a split.
Yeah.
And have a true conservative party.
The Whig Party.
Yeah, that would be great, right? Or a Federalist
But they have to
party,
wear the wigs.
or the Anti-Federalist Party, right? Just have something great.
If you bring back the Whig Party, you have to wear a powder wig.
Look, I think it would be the Tea Party. I think you would have a Tea Party, or just call it the Conservative Party or whatever.
Right.
And,
or no party affiliation at all.
And you would have the Republicans would lose a lot of support. However, I think over time, I think you would see the progressive Republicans and the progressive Democrats kind of come together.
One.
Yep. And I think
Blue
you'd
dogs.
see some blue, like Webb.
Oh, yeah.
I think you'd see some blue dog Democrats.
Yep, I agree.
That are more fiscally conservative, but more socially liberal or accepting, right? Like, if you want to go smoke weed in your own backyard, who cares? Don't do it in front of your kids or other people. Nobody cares.
Libertarian Democrats, if
right,
you will.
right. The more some of the socially liberal, but again, fiscally conservative Dems would kind of come over, and I think you would see that realigning of people, and I honestly think that would become the stronger party in about 10 to 20 years.
Yeah, well, and Ag said in the chat room, the problem is if you have a third party initially as an identifiable target and later becoming just as bad as the original two, or the two parties.
So I agree with George Washington. And
do away with parties.
Do away with political
parties.
parties.
Don't have any political parties. You vote.
Well, have a party because it's fun.
Right. No, well, why wouldn't you have a
Why
party?
wouldn't you have a
Especially
party?
if you got elected.
Right, but
That's
not a political.
kick-ass gala right there.
Exactly.
But
vote sack Ed Clinton.
Not a political party. You can have, you may have that one person who the Republicans won't touch because they're afraid of, that would shoot to the top when everybody else gets to see them.
Rand Paul?
I don't know if they're as afraid of Rand Paul.
I think they're afraid of Rand Paul.
I think they're afraid of what Rand Paul could do to the party, but I don't know if they think he's going to do it, if that makes sense. I don't know. And I haven't necessarily bought the fact that he will charge on as he will. I haven't just been convinced yet. I'm not saying he's going to go
I think he
full
will.
Rhino, but I don't know.
I don't think he would.
But, and like Ag says, well, you look at Europe, look at Germany, et cetera, et cetera. Yeah, you know what? But that's when the people have to become educated, and that's when the people need to...
How are you going to do that with Common Core? You have college students that can't tell you who the Vice President of the United States is.
I know. You have college students that can't read a grand jury indictment and decide to go protesting in Berkeley and burn the city down when they have no damn understanding of what happened.
Right.
But the problem is it is a complete community. We've become a complete country of followers, just people that follow the next shiny thing. They
can tell you what Kim Kardashian had for lunch.
Right. We literally have voters that are ferrets. It's just, this is shiny. Oh, that's awesome.
Are you saying Hans Gruber was right?
Hans Gruber. To a point. I think to a point he is right. I think to a point that the
average American voter is stupid.
I think when it comes to politics, I think,
that's
I wouldn't say
Sean at shrmedia.com.
I would not say stupid as much as checked out, because I think politics have become so disgusting that the average person stays away from them. So they're not as involved as they should be, and it started. It started in the 70s with Carter and the 60s actually with Nixon and all that stuff. So kids are being raised because their parents aren't involved in politics and paying attention to the Constitution, et cetera. So they're not raised to be involved in it. And then they get to a voter's age and they're just like, eh.
See, I'm going to say it's the education system.
It's a combination of things.
I'm going to say it's the education system mostly. And what do parents do, right? They drop their kids off at school.
Well, but that's the problem.
The school, yes, they're checked. They drop the kids off at school. How was school today? Oh, it was fine. Oh, the school will take care of teaching my kids everything. Even
everything under the sun.
It'll be great. I don't even have to.
So
talk to
now
my
you're in
kids
underwear
about sex
today,
anymore.
kid? No. Okay, they'll teach you that eventually. No,
Right.
I mean they're becoming like internment camps, where you drop them off and they're there all day, and then you pick them up at the end of the day, and just whatever information they want driven into the head. It's re-education camps.
Oh.
Then that's what they get. And right now it's Common Core, which is just an atrocity. Teachers, I have respect for good teachers, but there's not a lot of good teachers left anymore. You have teachers who literally just want they get into it just because they want the summer off, all the vacations and the benefits, and they don't know what else they want. Well, I took underwater basket weaving and I got my teaching credential.
Well, and they buy into the crap too, and the lesson plans are easy. They're all predetermined. They don't have to do any thinking. But
right.
the parents are really being driven out of the schools, the public school system.
Yeah, they don't want them to have any influence.
They don't. And if you're a parent and you try and challenge a teacher, or you try and
they call the police on you.
Yep, and then you're not allowed to go on campus. So I think how do we get so far off topic?
Because it's a Sackheads radio show.
At least I warned, right, that I was kind of, hey, Sean, I'm going to put the blinker on this time. I'm not just going to completely derail us. Thank you, Sacco, closing the door on the segment.
Can't even get out of a segment. We're awesome. We are so awesome. We didn't get to 2 or 3. When we come back, we're going to talk about sanctions against Israel.
No, I said 1,603 pages.
Question mark. And Hans Gruber does testify.
And I said, except we got to all those points. Hans Gruber. Hans Gruber.
In a world controlled by corrupt politicians,
You got a business. That you didn't build that.
a team of ordinary men emerge from the ashes to give voice to the voiceless and hope to the hopeless. Sackhead Sean,
Dude, I'm not saying calf for the stupid promo.
Sackhead Clint,
All good friends of ours usually show up drunk.
also starring Sacco as the producer.
I'm a little bit drunk, I'm a little bit drunk, 'cause I'm drinking, drinking, drinking.
They are the Sackheads Radio Show. Every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Pacific on shrmedia.com.
This is Tammy Jackson, inviting you to join me on the Tammy Jackson Show every Tuesday night at 7 p.m. Pacific on the 405radio.com. Put down that remote and tune into the show that covers politics, guns and the Second Amendment, religious liberties, sanctity of life, the military, and more. I host newsworthy guests and work hard to be a conservative radio show that's not like all the others. So save Tuesday nights at 7 p.m. Pacific for me, Tammy Jackson, on the 405media.com.
Who listens to the Andrea Kaye Show? Let's find out as we eavesdrop on listener Roger Johnson in Encinitas.
You know, if our policy is going to be bring any child who comes across the border and says coordination, we have to take them in.
Okay, so apparently Roger fell asleep in the middle of my brilliant political tirade, and now he plans to sue me because I put him on the air, sleeping. Obviously, he's a liberal.
Snoring, not an option while listening to The Andrea Kaye Show, Tuesday mornings at 11 on Financial News and Talk.
You know I'm right. Y'all know I'm right.
Hello, I'm Matt, a student at Hillsdale College. Here is Hillsdale President Larry Arnn on the continuing relevance of the Constitution.
Many argue today that the Constitution is outdated because it addresses problems peculiar to the 18th century. Some parts of the Constitution do read rather quaintly. Consider the injunction against titles of nobility in Article 1, Section 9 of the Constitution. But is that so outdated? The purpose of the injunction is to prevent the government granting special privileges to some for partisan reasons. This strikes at the heart of the rule of law. The crony capitalism so common today is a place where the government bestows favors and tax dollars on some businesses to give them a leg up over others. This is exactly the kind of thing the Constitution was meant to prohibit. The Constitution is not so outdated after all.
This Constitution Minute was brought to you by Hillsdale College. To join the national conversation on the Constitution, go to constitutionminute.com.
Welcome back into the Sackheads Radio Show for the last 30 minutes of excitement, that is. So, is the Obama administration considering sanctions on Israel? Let's start there. And I'll tell you, this might be the most ridiculous thing that I've heard come out of the White House in a long time, or even the rumors of it.
Because they're illegal?
Yeah,
because the White House can't sanction anybody?
Because one of our closest okay, we can go down that road too. The fact
I didn't know. This is your segment. I didn't know where you were going with it.
I need something to throw.
Throw this.
But one of our closest allies, Israel, that the Obama administration has made no bones about the fact that he appreciates him in any way, shape, or form, in my opinion.
Right, loves him. I mean, he and Bibi, they go out drinking. No?
No. I would love to see that, though.
I want to see Joe Biden and Bibi go drinking.
No, they might get along. They might actually get along. I would like to see Obama and Bibi.
I want to see Biden and anybody go out drinking.
Yeah, I just want that on video. That would be so much fun.
Hey, what are you broads doing in here?
Yeah,
how you doing, Toots?
Nuns, huh? Didn't recognize you. Either way, you want to do a shot with me? You can drink it out of my navel. Right? Full Biden.
Right.
Never go full Biden.
Right. Don't you ever wonder what you're missing? I'm just asking. I don't know, right? Don't you ever wonder what you're missing?
You might not know what you're missing, but I sure as hell do, if you know what I mean.
Oh, you've had penis too? This is the last half hour. We can't go into
nobody
the
ever
toilet.
listens to this. It's the last 30 minutes. We usually just say whatever the hell we want anyhow. But to come out against, a couple months ago, they tried to shore up and say how close, they had Kerry going over there all the time talking to the Israelis and, they really are allies, and then he'd undermine them in statements once he left the country because he didn't have the stones to do it while he was in the country. And now the fact that there is even trembles of this coming out of the White House, that sanctions are being considered, is an atrocity.
Because these rumors don't just start.
Yeah, right, exactly.
Right? There's not a rumor that, Obama and the State Department, they're actually meeting to kind of sanction and spank Israel a little bit.
Right.
And there's something to it when members of Congress send him a letter saying, hey, jackass, just so you know.
And I think that's exactly how Trey Gowdy titled it.
Right. I think that's an exact quote. We're trying to research it.
Last 30 minutes.
The whole bottle?
This is like my Sunday in the show. Go on.
No, please. The letter says, because I have it, while it is our hope these reports are untrue, the fact that your administration has failed to announce or clarify them is deeply troubling, because this came out on the 5th. And so media started asking administration officials, State Department officials about this, and they were like, "Oh, we don't comment on inner deliberations."
Oh, was it that idiot Psaki?
It was the State Department and the White House spokesperson that were saying we don't comment on internal deliberations or discussions. They weren't confirming it, but they weren't denying it at the time. And so the letter says, "Hey,
they've learned what happens when they deny something."
Right. It says, "We urge you to quickly and sharply address these concerns as well as take the steps necessary to demonstrate America's unwavering support for Israel." So that was on the 5th. On the 8th, all of a sudden, Obama administration starts denying the reports. They're completely unfounded and without merit. That's the quote. Completely unfounded without merit. That's not. Why didn't you just say that on the
first
5th?
time? You had the opportunity when you were first asked.
Right. Well, because we don't comment on deliberations. But you just said it's completely...
So there was deliberations, but now that it's public, they're not going to go through.
Right.
That's
So
essentially
you just said it's
happen.
completely unfounded and without merit. Well, yeah, because that's true. Why didn't you say that then? Well, because we don't comment on... But... Huh?
Dun, 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 dun,
I think I propose a sackhead law.
Okay.
Every member of the media corps in the White House should be issued one eraser. Like, not a dry eraser, but one of those old-school chalkboard erasers, and you dip it in water so it's wet. And you get one free throw at the D-bag at the podium. Whoever it may be.
Whoever it may
be.
I think they should all get an air horn, so when you know the line, they can just buzz it. Well, we don't really comment. Damn it. All right, yeah, they're talking about
I like
it.
my idea. I like the eraser the better. I like my idea a lot better. So now they're completely unfounded.
No, because then you'd have people trying to buy each other's erasers.
But it's interesting because WND had a story that came out today.
Mm-hmm.
And WND, the article was written by Aaron Klein. And what he says is, hey, even though the White House, and I'm paraphrasing, he didn't really write hey in his article. That might be unprofessional. He said, even though they've dismissed these as, quote, unfounded, reports of the Obama administration is contemplating sanctions on Israel. The Palestinian Authority told WND it is already receiving signals from the U.S. president that they may not support Israel at the UN and in the international community. Specifically, an unnamed PA negotiator said that the Obama administration is they're not going to make any private protest over Palestine's plan to seek recognition as a state in the UN and in international bodies.
Weird.
So,
So, you guys want to follow up on this and ask this question again?
Right.
They won't let us in the room, so we need somebody with a set of stones to kind of push this on them again.
Yep. So the PA negotiator went on to say there have been no talks of any real U.S. sanctions on the Palestinian Authority for unilateral recognition. It's just, we'll go ahead and let that happen.
It's really sad. And this is something, we've talked about this, how this administration gets hemmed up with some really ridiculous statements or lack of statements that they make that they know it's going to come out eventually. And they just don't have the stones to come out and be honest about it. Listen, we say it all the time.
People don't hold them accountable for anything. So why would... There is no accountability. Oh.
No, but there is no accountability. You're right.
I can't talk unless you pinch and poke me. Or something. I don't know.
I forget what it is, Clint.
I forget what it is. I think you have to pour me a drink. I don't know.
Too late. But there is no accountability, and nobody will follow up on this. And this is why I get so frustrated. And I would wish we could get a White House press pass. I know they would never give us one, even though they should if we wanted to, just because. But I would just ask, wait a minute, you went from no comment to now I'm going to deny it. Now all of a sudden the Palestinians saying that they're getting information or communications from you saying that you're going to support it. Why don't you just come out and say, hey, we think Israel sucks. And then we can all move on.
Because you can't say that.
We've talked about it before. I don't like this president's agenda and this administration's agenda, but if they were honest about it, at least you could give them that benefit. Like, oh, well, you know what? I think they suck, but they were honest about it. You knew what they were going to do. He was honest when he was in 2008.
When he said he wanted to fundamentally transform the United States of America?
He said a lot of things that he's tried to pass. Ever since he got elected and said he was going to be the most transparent administration ever, he became the exact opposite and does nothing but lie, cheat, and steal, in my opinion. But that's just my opinion. I can't confirm that yet.
That he lies?
Yeah.
We can confirm that. Well, there's plenty of sound bites that can be... That could almost
I meant
be...
on a legal standard.
Oh, okay.
I meant on a legal standard. I can't confirm that yet. But it doesn't. And nobody steps back and says, hey, why can't you just be straightforward about this? Why do you have to?
They won't hold him accountable for why. They're not going to. Yeah,
anything.
And he doesn't care.
No, he does.
He acts with it. He signed an executive order that he said for the first 6 years of his presidency
was never
going
to
happen. Illegal.
Yep.
He said,
I don't have the authority to do it.
I don't have the authority. It's illegal. He used the term illegal specifically when speaking to
I'm
certain
not a
groups.
king or whatever he said, or a Führer. Or...
He didn't say Führer.
He didn't?
No.
Oh, I thought that was something they throw around the White House occasionally.
No, I think he uses that in private with Michelle, and it's a whole different thing, I think. There's rumors of that, but I don't know. They call it Little Führer. I don't know.
I think at some point there's going to be a picture of him leaked in like one of those, not Führer jackets, but the jacket with all the medals and everything, like the sideways like Mussolini hat and everything. He's like, I'm just trying.
I thought you were going to go a completely different direction. I thought you were going to go like.
No.
I thought you were going to go like with nipple clamps and a dog leash and
That's Biden.
No, he's holding the leash.
Oh man, but yeah, no. Listen, this is just sad to even consider sanctions against one of our closest allies, and then lie about it.
It is, but Obama's not being held accountable for it. He is acting with impunity, and look, I think that there has been enough done by this administration. Look, Nixon was involved in a burglary, and they were starting impeachment proceedings against him, right? Clinton got a blowjob
and lied.
No, I didn't get a blowjob. Whatever. Nope, I didn't have sex with that woman.
Depends on what your definition of is.
Right.
Same as everyone else, a-hole.
And he got impeached.
Yeah.
Didn't get convicted, but got impeached.
Bush, they tried to impeach, 12 different times?
Yeah.
Nobody ever talks about that.
No.
It's amazing how that just keeps sliding under the carpet.
Yep. But
this guy, all of these controversies, and if you even bring it up, they start going insane.
And illegal action that he himself has said is illegal.
Yes.
And they won't touch it.
And they just...
You're over.
Cowards.
You're over your segment by 4 minutes. Hey, thanks for closing the door on that.
You're all damn cowards.
Hans Gruber.
Yippee-ki-yay, mother... What?
Jonathan Gruber, a.k.a. Hans. Throwback to Die Hard. Testified before Congress.
Oh, this must have been magical.
It was.
What did this idiot say now?
He kind of spoke without thinking. Didn't say he really didn't think that. Just kind of said, I'm sorry I said it.
Right.
Basically, I'm sorry I got caught. Right? Did you kill that woman? Yes. Are you sorry? Well, yes, I'm sorry. I'm sorry I'm going to jail.
Yeah.
Right? This is essentially what this chowderhead said.
I'm sorry it was on video.
But something else that's interesting is he said that he admitted that he knew that some Americans were going to lose their plans. He also said that
despite the fact that the White House said forever that it wasn't going to happen.
And that's kind of the rub. He also said that he had talks with the Obama administration and that he told the administration officials at those meetings that people would lose their plans.
Mm-hmm.
They would have to move into another plan. And he had admitted this in front of Congress. So, who lied? His answer was this was part of the calculation. Quote, we did model that some individuals would lose their existing plans and move to new forms of coverage.
And
I don't know
they just blame the
I don't know the national estimate of how many people lost health insurance, so I don't know how it compares to what I projected. But he admitted he projected they would lose their plans. He confirmed that he talked to administration officials and told them that certain individuals would lose their plans, and the administration came out and said, no, nobody's going to lose their plans. And to me, that's almost a bigger story than some runner-up for D-Bag of the Week who said, oh, yeah, American voters are stupid.
Right.
I mean, it's not a shock that people in this or affiliated with this administration think that American voters are stupid, right? Cass Sunstein was in this administration at some point, and his wife, Susan Powers, is ambassador to the UN. Cass Sunstein, the one who wrote Nudge, wants to model behavior, probably because he thinks people are stupid, they're elitist, they know better. So Gruber actually fits right in line with this ideology. That's not the shock to me. And this really isn't a shock either, but they knew ahead of time people were going to lose their coverage. They knew the effects of this ahead of time. That's the bigger story to me.
Absolutely is a bigger story. And listen, it's so funny how much stuff that we said going up through Obamacare has come true. We talked about the cost being out of control. Now we know it's going to be
we're right about a lot of things on this show.
It's so funny how damn right we are all the time. And you know what? I get a little tired of it.
Do you?
Nope. Love every moment.
I kind of love it. It's kind of a big deal.
You know, we talked about how many people would lose their coverage before. You know,
By the way, I predict that the 5 tomorrow, somebody's going to say that this is a bigger deal than...
Yes, no, it's going to happen again. We know you listen. You know, I had the numbers out of Massachusetts long ago from a friend of mine that is very close to this issue.
Mitt Romney?
No.
Oh, I didn't know if you knew Mitt. You guys go way back.
I met him a few times.
Now you're bragging.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, why?
And you're admitting that?
Yeah.
To this group? You know who our listeners are.
Just because I didn't think he'd make a good president doesn't mean he's not a nice guy.
There you go, using logic and common sense. Yeah, thanks. No, go ahead.
His wife is a doll. She's the sweetest person I've probably ever met on the planet. Sorry.
Why are you apologizing for that?
No. You want to make a big issue out of it? Make a big issue out of it.
Okay.
Big nose.
Whoa. That was completely uncalled for.
That was hurtful. That was hurtful and mean. I know, and we've talked about this.
And I don't appreciate that. We've talked about this before, and yet you continually do it.
Right.
Do we need to go to see a therapist again?
I know, Toucan. I'm sorry. Now...
2 can, but 3 can also.
The thing that we've had a hard time confirming, even though we've all had suspicions, is that the administration knew this information going up to it, when it got passed, going into it. We all had ideas that they knew, but it was hard to confirm it because there was so much smoke and mirrors with this law when it was being passed. Nobody could really get anything out of it.
Well, we had to pass it to find out what's in it. Remember?
Of course. That's just the way. That's how the rule.
That's how law works, right?
But
pistol grip.
But then what happens is all of a sudden all these little tidbits are starting to come out, and you're starting to realize that hey, you know, the website was not ready to handle it, and we all knew it. And then they spent more money on the website than it took to fund the damn program for half a year. And we found out that states like Massachusetts were cooking the books on their enrollment numbers because the website was screwed up. They weren't making people prove their income to fall into which category they were going in. They were just doing a flat application that had literally name, address, date of birth, social security number, bam, you have health care.
It should be one question. Right, it should be your social security number and then one question. Do you want government money? Yes or no? And that's it.
Pretty sure you have to say government.
What, really?
Yeah.
That's a brand, right? Of chewing gum?
Yeah, government.
Government. Yeah. I think I've had that.
What?
I'm not saying anything.
Okay, good. I don't know. Usually you like
looking
to cackle
at you.
on. Yeah, you're just staring at me.
No.
You're literally looking down your nose at me.
I figure Ken in the chat room would chime in here pretty quick.
That's how I check to see if he's still listening.
That's how you check to see if you're a racist. Uh-oh, did that fire Ken off?
No, I don't think he's been quiet. I think
he went to sleep.
Yes, that's right.
Because that would have set him off. Yeah, he's got to get to his protest. What'd you ask me outside? What's an afro? Or I asked you what's an afro, and you said Ken's hairdo?
Right. I said what I want Ken's hair to be is exactly what I said. Because
and we've talked about this.
Just completely boss.
Look, we have 9 minutes left. We're into our wrap-up segment. I'm done talking about serious stuff. I can't
what? I'm
handle
done.
it anymore.
I'm just done.
Let's just sign off 8 minutes early.
No. We can't do that.
Why can't we do that?
He hasn't closed the door yet.
Well, Sacco's not going to close the door.
Listen, We can't go off the air until the door closes and the music starts. We are
We're not going.
pre-programmed
We're not going off.
automatons.
What are we talking about next week?
Well, you know what? If we're still here from next week,
That's right.
after this massive storm that's going to hit tomorrow, we can talk about how we somehow find a way to survive through that, or as the rest of the country calls it, a little bit of rain, California. Yeah, and that's about it.
So we're going to talk about the storm.
Have you seen the weather report?
It's just rain, Sacco.
I'm just saying.
No, I know.
It goes around us.
No,
where we're at now.
Yeah.
So we're not going to get rain?
Maybe a little bit. Like here, but if you go up a little bit, you'll get a lot.
Up a little bit, like where? Oregon?
Sacco, what weather?
What are you talking about, Sacco?
Dude, what are you, the weather guy all of a sudden on the
Holy
show?
cow, what'd you do?
If you're gonna chime in,
Shake your weather stick?
If you're going to chime in, you have some damn stats.
I know.
Where? Around
Okay, hold
here.
on.
First of all, people at home, they can't see your little hand movement.
Yeah, it's going to go out to the Pacific, D.C., Canada, and Mexico. It's going to be around here.
Okay, so I looked online.
You looked online. What?
Well, everything online is true. I know that.
Oh, were you on allaroundthebarnyard.com
no, guys,
again?
don't keep cutting me off. That's fine.
Go ahead, Sacco.
All I'm saying is I looked online at the little weather thing about the storm.
Is that the site,
and it
the
shows
little
you
weather thing?
God.
I'm asking clarifying questions here. We're having an interview practically. I didn't realize we had a meteorologist as
And
part of the network
Sackett Sacco with the weather. We now turn to meteorologist Sackett
Almost.
Sacco with the storm report.
All
Sacco?
I'm saying was that it goes around our current building.
building?
Just this one
it literally
building.
goes around our building. That's
So
it.
you're saying that God
Yeah.
is essentially shining upon us and saving us?
Only because I'm here. Yeah.
Yeah, but what
Only
about
because we're all heathens. We're heathen
The rest of
bastards.
us-
and heathens.
So what you're going to say is I'll die when I leave here?
Right.
Well, as long
But-
as I stay here
I
for
can't
next
talk to you
week, I'm
guys.
okay.
Which means we
done.
have to be live for
can't
the
talk
next 48 hours.
Next
folks.
week we're getting you a green screen, and you have to do a weather report. I'm just saying. Come on, Sacco.
Have you seen the new lightsaber?
I
for the
have.
Star Wars teaser.
Great conversation.
People are. Hey! Open that door.
That
back
was on
up,
the weather.
Sacco.
No, that was on
on the
weather.
weather. Okay, good. People are losing their minds over that. Look, people, it's called a handguard. It's a lightsaber with a handguard that comes out.
Luke may have had two real hands in Return of the Jedi.
Right.
If he had one.
a hand.
Yes.
This is not some weird. There were people that were doing scientific.
Oh, I know.
Like you can't have this. It's because. Oh, really? But you could have Admiral Akbar and
right. I mean,
right, flying around. And,
the whole movie's based in fantasy.
Chewbacca is completely real. You could have. I mean,
Right.
we know because he sits across from us, and his name is Sacco.
Well,
but other than that,
the Force is regularly active in my life.
right?
You know, I use it all the time. Turn lights on, turn lights
Right.
off.
We went to Endor the other day
choke
for lunch.
people.
Do you remember that?
You know, and there are going to be people who are going to break this down.
This lightsaber, you can't.
Well, this is hardly plausible. I mean, look at them. They only come out like 6 inches out of either side. I was sitting in my mother's basement, and I was furious, right? This guy shows up, and he's got a lightsaber with a damn handguard on it. So I wrote myself a nasty letter, and I read it later, and I was still right. I'm angry. Damn George Lucas and Jar Jar Binks. It's a movie! Jeez Louise. The things that people will get fired up nowadays about.
Not politics.
Blows my mind.
Yeah.
Oh my God, Kim Kardashian posed half naked on the front of a. She said she was never going to do that again.
Again, right.
She named her child North by Northwest. Is this really somebody's word that we're going to take? Like she's all of a sudden just going to snap out of it? What's next? You're going to be upset when Snooki all of a sudden does something stupid again? These are the things that scare me about our country. Who gives a rat's ass what these people do?
Some people. Some people do. And the fact that you're being insensitive right now to a majority of our American brethren out there is really disrespectful. You know what? You think you're one of the elite now because you're part of the whole media class, right? I said, listen, I see where this is going. We said this wasn't going to happen to us, Sean. I need to bring you back down to earth.
What do you mean they had Treants in Middle-earth and Lord of the Rings? Those didn't exist till at least 600 years past the inception.
Right.
Who cares? Sit down, shut up, eat your popcorn, and enjoy the damn movie, or don't go.
Ag in the chat room. Rule number 1 in lightsaber training, don't grab the glowy end.
The same goes for gun training. Don't go to the flashy end.
Right, don't go to the flashy end. If it says smile, it's a picture. Wait for flash. No, it's not. It's a trick.
It's a trick.
I fell for it once.
But
It's a trick.
this is a societal problem where these are the things that people actually worry about. And they will write a theory, like a 6-page. There was like a 6-page theory on why.
That's what I was talking about.
How the hell do you have that much time on your hands?
If you're writing a theory about why that lightsaber would not work,
right,
then build your own freaking lightsaber
Right.
and show me you know how to make one that works.
If you show up and you have a working lightsaber, then I'll start listening to your theory. Other than that, go pound sand.
Right.
Go back to mom's basement.
Right.
And shut the hell up.
Right. Go to some cosplay, some Comic-Con, right? Dress up as
Magic Missile.
Whatever.
Magic Missile.
I'm all about role playing, but come on.
Oh,
right?
man, the hate mail. I'm going to get
Hate
so much
mail.
hate
You're
mail.
gonna get so much hate
My
mail
little
for that.
skit about I'm being angry, that guy's going to get all the hate mail in the world. I'm screwed. Because that guy does exist.
Oh, yeah, and he listens to this
And
show.
he probably listens to this show. Hey, folks.
Hey, what?
We're at the end.
What are you going to do this week?
End. This weekend.
Get a kayak and wade through all the storm rains?
I do what I do most weekends. I'm going to sit back and drink whiskey and laugh at the rest of the world. What are you going to do?
I'm going to watch football and...
That's about it?
Find a place to live.
Well, according to Sacco, the studio is going to still be dry, so
Right,
you'll be
so
fine.
I could come here, right?
This
This would be good.
This should be the emergency shelter for all of
For all of
I
Sackhead.
hate you guys. Especially you, Sean.
According to the weather report, there's a giant hole around right where we are right now.
Where did you get this accent from? You just like cooked
According
it
to
up.
Google Earth, this building doesn't exist. It's weird. We're in a vortex. We're in a freaking vortex.
No, Sacco, that's just the cursor on the computer. It was covering us. Oh. I just made fun of Sacco and using the computer of all people. I'm going to end up paying for that long term. I'm going to turn on my computer tomorrow and it's just going to explode or something ridiculous.
Oh, why? Because he's Middle Eastern?
Because he's
Did we not talk about this earlier, Sean?
We are out of time here on the Sackheads Radio Show. Join us next Wednesday, 8 p.m. Pacific, here on the SHR Media Network. Make sure you check out all the great shows on SHR Media, starting tomorrow at 5 p.m. with the Evan Miller Report, followed immediately afterwards by the exceptional one himself, Ken McClinton, on the Exceptional Conservative Show. 1 p.m. Eastern tomorrow. Check out Islam Exposed on BTR. Join our good friend Ag and the crew over there. We'll talk to you soon. Good night.
The best late-night conservative talk show in America, Sackheads Radio. And listen, there are no people better on the air to give you the best in conservative talk than Sackhead Sean and Sackhead Clint. And we're working on the immigration papers for a certain other guy who happens to work there too. For those who are tuning in around the world to the best in late-night conservative talk, Sackheads Radio.
Hack you. Hack you.
Radio.
Hack you. Hack you.
Radio.
The best late-night conservative talk show in America. In America.
In America.
And in this web was a large, I'm pretty sure it was the biggest spider I've ever seen.